A little girl stands still as everyone else runs for lunch. A young billionaire is shocked when he discovers the truth. The office bell rang for the 10th time that morning. Owen didn't even move from the leather armchair. His secretary could answer it. She could handle everything by herself, as she had been doing for the past few weeks. Since his mother's funeral, he couldn't bring himself to care about anything. The phone on his desk started to flash. Owen glanced at the screen. Investors meeting, 10 a.m. He hung up without hesitation. To hell with the investors, to hell with the contracts, to hell with everything. He stood up and walked to the 30th floor window. Down below, the city was bustling. Cars, people, life happening. And he was there, feeling like a ghost watching the world of the living. His mother always used to say, "Owen, money without purpose is just painted paper." She was right. He had more money than he knew what to do with, but for what? For whom? The woman who gave his ambition meaning was gone, and now he was here, rich and completely lost. The intercom buzzed. "Mr. Marshall." His secretary's voice sounded hesitant. "Sorry to bother you, but are you all right? There's a stack of documents waiting for your signature." Owen sighed. "Sarah, do me a favor. Look up a public school around here, one that needs money." Silence on the other end. "A school, sir?" "Yeah. I want to make a donation." "A big one?" "Right. May I ask why?" Owen didn't know how to answer. Maybe it was an impulse. Maybe it was desperation. Or maybe it was the only thing that made sense at that moment. Just find one, Sarah. 2 hours later, she knocked on the door with a folder. "I found 3 options. Mr. Marshall, Maplewood Elementary seems to be the one that needs it the most. Old building, few resources, but a good reputation." Owen took the folder without looking. "Call them. I want to donate $10,000. Sarah's eyes widened. 10,000. Is that too little?" "No, sir. It's just, they'll freak out." "Good. And tell them I want to deliver it in person." "You want to go to the school?" Owen paused. Why had he said that? He didn't like charity events, fake photos, empty speeches, but something was pushing him out of that office. "I do. Schedule it for tomorrow morning." The next morning, Owen drove through the suburban streets until he reached Maplewood Elementary. It was a 50-year-old brick building with peeling paint on the edges, but with well-kept gardens. Children were coming and going, with colorful backpacks and laughter echoing through the playground. Life, pure energy. Mrs. Peterson, the principal, greeted him as if he were a celebrity. "Mr. Marshall, what an incredible honor. We couldn't believe it when your secretary called. $10,000. "Oh my, this will change everything here." She chattered as she led him through the corridors. Owen pretended to pay attention, but he was distracted. There was something different in the air there. The noise of children, the smell of chalk, the energy. Things he hadn't felt in years. "And here we have our playground." Mrs. Peterson opened a glass door proudly. Owen was hit by a wave of sound. Dozens of children running, playing, shouting. Some on the slide, others playing ball. A group playing tag. Pure life in motion. "It's always like this at recess." The principal laughed. "They have endless energy." Owen smiled for the first time in weeks. There was something contagious about that organized chaos. Children being children, not worrying about anything but the present moment. That's when something caught his eye. In the farthest corner of the playground, under a small tree, a little girl was sitting all alone. Owen stopped listening to the principal. He stopped seeing the other children. His attention was completely focused on that small, motionless figure. The girl must have been 5 or 6 years old. Pale blonde hair down to her shoulders, light blue eyes that seemed too big for her delicate face. She was wearing a faded pink jacket and jeans with patches on the knees. But what was most striking was not her appearance. It was her complete stillness. While all the other children were bursting with energy around her, she sat like a statue, staring ahead with an expression that Owen immediately recognized: emptiness, the same feeling he had been carrying for weeks. "So with your donation, We can buy new computers. Mrs. Peterson continued her presentation, but Owen was no longer listening. There was something deeply unsettling about that scene. A child should be playing, running, laughing, not sitting alone with that lost look. Who is that little girl? Owen interrupted the principal in the middle of a sentence about school supplies. Mrs. Peterson followed his gaze. Oh, Maya. She always gets like this at recess. Like what? Alone. Her mother. Well, some families here are going through difficult times. You know how it is. Owen took a few steps toward the tree, not even realizing he was moving. Mr. Marshall. Mrs. Peterson followed him. Is everything all right? He stopped a few feet from the girl. Maya had noticed his presence and was looking at him directly, not averting her gaze. There was no fear or curiosity in those blue eyes, just a sadness that shouldn't exist in a child. Suddenly, a teacher appeared in the playground holding a bell. Snack time, kids. It was like opening the floodgates of a dam. All the children ran toward the cafeteria in an avalanche of laughter and pushes. Except Maya. She remained sitting in the exact same spot, in the same position, as if the bell hadn't rung for her. Owen approached a little closer. Hi. Hi. Her voice was a whisper. Aren't you going to get a snack with the others? Maya shook her head slowly, without taking her eyes off him. My mom is sick. I don't feel like eating. The words came out with an intensity that Owen didn't expect. It wasn't a child's excuse or drama. It was a statement filled with real pain. Owen felt as if someone had flipped a switch inside his chest. That simple sentence, spoken in a small voice, hit him with a force he couldn't explain. Maya, honey, Mrs. Peterson approached in a maternal tone. You need to eat, come on. I'll take you to the cafeteria. The girl just shrugged and looked straight ahead again, as if she had closed herself off again. Owen stood there, completely lost. He had managed multi-million-dollar mergers, made decisions that affected thousands of people, survived the worst moments of the corporate world. But a sentence from a child left him speechless. My mom is sick. I don't feel like eating. Shall we continue, Mr. Marshall? Mrs. Peterson touched his arm. Yes, of course. Owen followed the principal back into the building, but he couldn't stop looking back. Maya remained motionless under the tree, like a little sentinel guarding her own sadness. The rest of the visit passed in a blur. Owen signed the donation papers, shook hands, listened to effusive thanks, but his mind was stuck in that playground, in those blue eyes, in that sentence. He drove back to the office in total silence. He didn't even turn on the radio. He could only hear the girl's voice echoing in his head. My mom is sick. I don't feel like eating. Back at the office, he locked himself in his room and looked out the window. The city continued to move below, but he saw nothing. Why did it affect him so much? Maybe because he recognized the pain. In the last few weeks, he had also lost his appetite, lost interest in everything. Maybe because he saw a reflection of his own emptiness in Maya. Or maybe it was something deeper, something that touched a part of him he thought was dead. He picked up the phone and dialed, Sarah, cancel everything today. I'm not seeing anyone. Sir, are you sure? Mr. Williams has been waiting since... Cancel everything. Owen hung up and went back to the window. For the first time in weeks, he wasn't thinking about himself. He was thinking about a little girl with blue eyes who didn't feel like eating because her mom was sick. And for the first time since the funeral, he felt something other than emptiness. He felt a purpose. Owen couldn't work, couldn't even pretend to be working. For 3 days straight, he stood at the office window, but he didn't see the city. He saw a little blonde girl with blue eyes sitting under a tree, saying she didn't feel like eating. My mum is sick, I don't feel like eating. The phrase had been hammering in his head since he left the school. He tried to distract himself with reports, calls 8 urgent meetings. Nothing worked. Sarah walked into the room on Thursday morning with a pile of documents. Mr. Marshall, you need to sign these contracts. The deadline is today. Owen looked at the papers without seeing anything. "Sarah, do you have children?" She blinked, surprised. "I do, sir. 2 boys. Have they ever been sad? Like, really sad?" Sarah slowly put the documents on the table. "Everyone gets sad sometimes, Mr. Marshall. It's part of growing up. But what about when it's different, when it's something too heavy for a child? Sir?" She looked at him with concern. "Are you all right?" Owen shook his head. "Forget it. Give me an hour to sign this." After Sarah left, Owen stared at the contracts without reading a single line. His mind went back to the school, to the playground, to the little girl. It wasn't normal for a 5-year-old to talk like that. It wasn't normal for her to sit alone while all the others were playing. And it wasn't normal for him to be unable to stop thinking about it. He suddenly stood up, grabbed his coat, and left the room. "Sarah, I'm going out." "I don't know when I'll be back." "But Mr. Marshall, the contract later." Owen drove to Maplewood Elementary without knowing exactly why. He just knew he needed to see if Maya was okay. It was a strange feeling, as if something was pulling him there. He parked in front of the school and sat in the car for a few minutes. What the hell was he doing? It was noon on a Thursday. He should be working, not stalking an elementary school, but he got out of the car anyway. The playground was empty. Of course, the children were in class. Owen felt silly. He was about to turn back when he heard voices coming from the cafeteria. Lunchtime. He walked to the fence that separated the playground from the street and watched. Little by little, children started coming out of the building. Some ran to the play equipment, others sat in groups to eat. And there she was. Maya came out last, walking slowly. She was wearing the same faded pink jacket and carrying a small, worn lunchbox. But instead of joining the other children, she went straight to her spot under the tree. Owen watched her sit down and open her lunchbox. Inside him there was almost nothing. A small sandwich, a half-wilted apple. She looked at the food for a moment, closed the lunchbox without eating anything, and stared into space. That scene broke his heart. Without a second thought, Owen went to a small store on the corner of the school. He bought a bag of colorful jelly beans, the kind kids love, and came back. The front office was almost empty. A staff member recognized him immediately. "Mr. Marshall, what a surprise. Did you come back to visit?" "Something like that. Can I talk to Maya, the little blonde girl who is always alone at recess?" The woman hesitated. "Well, she's at lunch right now. I don't know if... It'll be quick, I promise." A few minutes later, Owen was on the playground, walking toward the tree. Maya saw him coming and showed no surprise. It was as if she expected him to show up. "Hi, Maya." "Hi." Her voice was still very soft, but there was a hint of curiosity in her blue eyes. Owen crouched down to her level and took the bag of jelly beans from his pocket. "I brought you something." Maya's eyes lit up for a second, but then she shook her head. "My mum says I can't accept candy from strangers." "Your mum is right, but..." Owen thought quickly. "What if I'm not a stranger anymore? My name is Owen. I came here last week to make a donation to the school." Maya studied him with that seriousness that didn't fit her age. "Are you rich?" The question took him by surprise. "Why do you ask?" "Only rich people donate to schools. Mrs. Peterson said so." Owen chuckled softly. "Sometimes a candy makes the day better." He held out the bag again. This time, Maya took it. "Thank you." She opened the bag carefully, as if it was something precious. She chose a red jelly bean and put it in her mouth. A small smile appeared on her face. Owen felt something strange in his chest. When was the last time he had made someone smile? "Why aren't you eating your lunch?" he asked, pointing to the closed lunchbox. Maya's smile disappeared. She carefully rolled up the bag of jelly beans and looked at the ground. "I'm not very hungry." "But kids are always hungry. I remember when I was little, I was always eating." Maya was quiet for a while. Owen didn't push it. He had learned in business that sometimes silence said more than any question. Finally, she raised her blue eyes to him. There was a determination there that he didn't expect to see in a child. My mum lost her job. She got sick. We don't have money to go to the doctor. The words came out all at once, as if she had been holding them in for a long time and had finally found someone to listen. Owen felt the world stop around him. The brutal frankness of that confession hit him like a punch. There was no drama, no attempt to get attention. It was just a 5-year-old child telling the truth in the simplest way possible. She stays in bed all the time, Maya continued, in the same soft voice. She coughs a lot. Sometimes she cries when she thinks I'm not looking. Owen swallowed hard. And is there no one else to help? Grandma, Grandpa? Maya shook her head. It's just me and her, it always has been. The silence that followed was heavy. Owen looked at the girl, really looked at her. He saw the clothes that were a little too big, probably donated. He saw the worn but clean sneakers. He saw the care with which she treated even a simple bag of jelly beans. And he saw something that made his heart ache. Responsibility. In Maya's eyes, there was a responsibility that shouldn't exist in a child. She was worried about her mother, the way an adult would be. Is that why you don't eat? Owen asked gently. When she gets sick, I also feel kind of, I don't know, weird inside. Maya touched her chest with her small hand. It hurts here. Owen knew that pain. It was exactly what he had felt since his mother's death, that emptiness that left everything tasteless, meaningless. I understand, he said softly. Maya looked at him, surprised. You really do? I do. I've felt that too. She studied his face for a moment. Did your mom also get sick? She did. And I felt the way you're feeling now. Maya nodded as if that made all the sense in the world. It's bad, isn't it? It's very bad. They were silent for a few minutes. Owen didn't know what to say. He wanted to help. He wanted to do something, but he didn't know how. There was a difference between giving money to an institution and dealing with a child's real pain. Can I have another jelly bean? Maya asked shyly. You can have all of them if you want. She chose a green one this time. They're very sweet. That's what they're for. Maya smiled again, but it was a sad smile. My mom would like them. She loves sweets. Something moved inside Owen's chest. It wasn't pity. It wasn't charity. It was something deeper, more urgent. It was as if this little girl had awakened a part of him that had been sleeping for years. Maya, he said slowly, you are very brave. I am. You are. Taking care of someone you love is one of the hardest things in the world, and you're doing it. Maya thought for a moment. It doesn't feel like I'm brave, it feels like I'm just tired. The sincerity of that answer left Owen speechless. A 5-year-old child shouldn't know that kind of tiredness. The school bell rang, signaling the end of lunchtime. I have to go back, Maya said, getting up slowly. Of course. Owen stood up too. Maya. Yeah. You can keep the jelly beans. And thank you for talking to me. Thank you for the candy, Owen. She pronounced his name carefully, as if it were important. Then she walked back to the building, carrying the closed lunchbox and the bag of jelly beans. Owen stood under the tree, watching her disappear through the door. Something had changed inside him. He didn't know what, but he felt he couldn't just leave and forget. Maya was not just a sad child. She was a person, a little person carrying a burden too big. And for the first time in weeks, Owen knew exactly what he needed to do. Owen spent the entire weekend thinking about Maya. He couldn't get the image of her sitting alone out of his head, talking about her sick mother in that little voice. My mum lost her job. She got sick. We don't have money to go to the doctor. Saturday passed in a blur. Owen tried to work from home, read reports, answer emails. Nothing worked. His mind always went back to the school, to the playground, to the girl under the tree. Sunday was worse. He woke up early, had coffee alone in the big, empty kitchen, tried to watch the news. But all he could think about was Maya's voice saying that her mom coughed all night. A 5-year-old child shouldn't carry that kind of worry. Monday came, and he could barely concentrate on work. Sarah came into the room 3 times with urgent documents, but Owen could only think of one thing. He had to do something. It wasn't just pity, it was something stronger, more urgent. As if that little girl had awakened a part of him that had been dormant for years. Mr. Marshall. Sarah appeared at the door once again. You have a board meeting in 20 minutes. Cancel it. Sir, cancel all my meetings for today, and for tomorrow too. Sarah was dumbfounded. But sir, these are important meetings. Sarah. Owen got up from his chair. How old are you? 32, sir. And your children? 8 and 5 years old. If one of your children was going through a hard time, would you cancel meetings to help them? Of course I would, but then you understand. Owen grabbed his coat and left the room before Sarah could protest. At lunchtime, he drove straight to the school. This time, he didn't even go through the office. He went straight to the playground through the back. He knew where to find Maya. There she was, in the same spot as always, under the tree, alone, with her lunchbox closed beside her. But today, there was something different. Maya was hugging her legs, with her face hidden in her knees. She was so quiet that Owen almost didn't see her. When Maya saw him coming, she raised her head. Her eyes were red. Owen, you came back. I came back. He crouched down to her level, concerned. Maya, were you crying? She shook her head too fast. No. Are you sure? Maya looked at the ground. Maybe a little bit. Why? My mom. She couldn't get up this morning. I had to make my own breakfast. Owen felt his heart clench. And how did you get to school? Walking, like always. Maya shrugged, but Owen could see she was trying to seem braver than she felt. Maya, you're 5 years old. You can't walk the streets alone. But I know the way, and there was no one to bring me. Owen was silent for a moment. The situation was worse than he imagined. How was your mum when you left? Sleeping, or pretending to be sleeping. Sometimes she does that when she doesn't want me to see her cry. Maya's brutal honesty left Owen speechless. This girl was seeing things no child should ever see. Maya, he said slowly, can I ask you something important? You can. Your mum, does she want to get help? Maya tilted her head, thinking seriously. I don't know. She always says we have to manage on our own. But has she ever accepted help from anyone? Once a neighbor brought soup when I was sick. My mom thanked her, but then she told me we couldn't get used to it. Why not? Because she said people like us have to be strong. Owen sighed. Pride. He understood that, but sometimes pride hurt more than it helped. And you? Do you want someone to help your mum? Maya's eyes filled with tears again. I really do. She coughs all night. And yesterday I heard her crying in the bathroom. You heard her? Yeah, she thought I was sleeping, but I wasn't. She was crying softly and saying, I don't know what to do anymore. Owen felt something break inside his chest. A sick, single mother who didn't know how to take care of her daughter. And a little girl listening to everything, carrying worries that weren't hers to carry. He stood up and started pacing, thinking. Maya watched him in silence. Maya, he said finally, stopping in front of her. I want to meet your mum. If you let me, I can help you both. Maya's eyes widened. Help how? Take her to the doctor. Buy medicine. Make sure you get to school safely. Whatever you need. Would you really do that? Why? Owen crouched down again, getting to her eye level. Because you are special, Maya, and because your mum needs help, even if she doesn't want to admit it. But you don't know us. I don't need to know you for a long time to want to help. Sometimes you find people who matter to you very quickly. Maya was quiet for a long time, biting her lower lip. Owen could see she was weighing the options in her little head. She doesn't like to accept help, Maya said finally. Once a neighbor offered to lend her money and she got really mad. Why? She said we weren't charity for anyone. That we had dignity. Owen understood perfectly. His own mother was always proud too. She never accepted help, even when she needed it. But Maya, what if she knew it was to help you? That you're worried about her? That you want her to get better? Maya thought a little more. Do you think if I asked, she would let you? I think it's worth a try. Maya nodded slowly. I think if it was for me, she would let you. She always says she would do anything for me. So, will you give me your address? Maya hesitated one more time. I think she'll be mad at me, but it's okay. If it's to make her better, it's worth it. She took a pencil from her backpack and a crumpled sheet of paper. She wrote the address with a child's shaky handwriting, carefully drawing each letter. 247 Maple Street, she said, handing him the paper. It's the little white house with flowers in the window. Owen put the paper in his pocket as if it were a treasure. Thank you, Maya. I promise I'll try to help. Do you really promise? You won't forget? I promise. I won't forget. Maya smiled for the first time since Owen had met her, a real smile that lit up her whole face. She'll like you, Owen. My mum is really nice when she's not sick. She tells me stories, makes pancakes for breakfast, sings when she's washing dishes. She sounds like a wonderful mum. She is. That's why I want her to get well. The school bell rang, signaling the end of lunchtime. I have to go, Maya said, getting up. Of course, Maya. Yeah, this afternoon, when you get out of school, wait for someone to pick you up, okay? Don't walk home alone. Who will pick me up? I'll talk to your mom first. But I promise someone will pick you up. Maya nodded confidently. Okay, bye, Owen. Bye, Maya. Owen stood under the tree, watching her run back to the building. For the first time in days, he felt he was doing the right thing. He spent the rest of the afternoon at the office trying to work, but it was impossible. He kept looking at the paper with the address, imagining what the conversation would be like. He didn't know Maya's mum, but he could imagine how difficult it would be to convince her to accept help. At 5 o'clock, he gave up. He got in his car and drove to the neighborhood where Maya lived. The drive took about 20 minutes. Owen left the city center, passed through middle-class neighborhoods, until he reached an older area. It wasn't a poor place, but it was definitely more simple. Small, well-kept houses lined the tree-lined streets. There were simple gardens, older cars parked in front of the houses, children playing on the sidewalks. It was a neighborhood where people knew each other, where neighbors talked over the fence, where children could play on the street safely. Owen stopped in front of number 247, a small white house with a porch and colorful flowers in the windows, exactly as Maya had described. The paint was a little peeling at the edges, but the place was clean and welcoming. There was something familiar about that place, but he couldn't put his finger on what it was. Maybe it was just the feeling of home that radiated from the house. He took a deep breath and walked to the door. He knocked 3 times, lightly. Slow footsteps on the other side. Someone looking through the peephole. A long pause, as if the person on the other side was deciding whether to open. The door opened slowly. Owen felt the world stop. On the other side of the door was a blonde woman, with light blue eyes, a delicate face marked by tiredness and illness. She was wearing a simple robe and was visibly weakened, pale, thin, with deep circles under her eyes. But Owen recognized her immediately. Vanessa, who had worked at his mother's house years ago. Vanessa, with whom he had fallen madly in love when he was in his 20s. Vanessa, who had disappeared from his life from one day to the next, without a word, without an explanation. Vanessa, who was now standing in front of him, with the same expression of absolute shock that he must have on his face. The silence stretched for long seconds. Both stood there, looking at each other as if they were seeing a ghost. Owen! Her voice came out as a startled whisper. What are you doing here? Owen tried to speak, but no sound came out. His mind was processing the situation at full speed, trying to connect the pieces of a puzzle that made no sense. Maya, is she your daughter? He finally managed to say, his voice hoarse. I I met her at school. I came to help." Vanessa turned even paler, if that was possible. Her face went through a series of expressions: surprise, fear, anger, despair. "We don't need your help. Go away." She started to close the door, but Owen put his hand out to stop her. "Vanessa, wait. Maya told me you're sick, that you lost your job. I just want to—" I said, "Go away." Her voice came out louder, firmer, but Owen could hear the tremor behind the firmness. "We don't need you." "But she's just a child." "She's walking to school alone because you can't take her." "That's none of your business." "Yes, it is. I care about her. She's suffering, Vanessa." Vanessa stopped pushing the door and looked him straight in the eyes. There was a pain there that went far beyond physical illness. "You care? Since when does Owen Marshall care about anyone but himself?" The accusation hurt more than Owen expected. "That's not fair." "It's not fair," Vanessa laughed, but it was a bitter, humorless laugh. "You want to talk about what's fair?" "Vanessa, no." She shook her head violently. "You don't get to show up in my life after all these years pretending you care. We'll manage on our own, like we always have." "But you're not managing. Maya is carrying worries that aren't hers to carry. You're sick and alone." "So what? That's none of your business." Owen felt frustration growing. "Why are you being so stubborn? I just want to help." "I don't want your help," Vanessa yelled, and immediately started coughing violently. Owen instinctively took a step forward, but she raised her hand to stop him. Suddenly, a small voice came from inside the house. "Mom, who was at the door? Are you okay?" Maya appeared behind Vanessa, wearing unicorn print pajamas. When she saw Owen, her eyes lit up like stars. "Owen, you came. You kept your promise." She tried to get past her mother, but Vanessa held her by the shoulders. "Maya, go back to your room." "But Mom, it's Owen. He gave me candy at school. He said he was going to help you get better." Maya looked from Vanessa to Owen, and suddenly she frowned, confused. "Did you two know each other?" The silence that followed was heavy. Vanessa closed her eyes for a moment, as if she were gathering all the strength she had left. "No, Maya, we don't know each other." "But you're looking at each other like—" Maya tilted her head, with that strange perception that children sometimes have, like you've seen each other before. "Maya, go to your room, now." Vanessa's voice was firmer, but still shaky. Maya looked at Owen one more time, clearly confused, but she obeyed. "Bye, Owen. Thank you for trying to help," she said softly, before disappearing down the hallway. Vanessa waited until she was sure Maya wasn't listening. Then she turned to Owen again. "Go away, Owen," she said when she could stop coughing, "and don't come back. Maya doesn't need false hope." "False hope? What are you talking about?" But Vanessa was already closing the door. "Vanessa!" The door closed with a soft thud. Owen heard the lock being turned on the other side. He stood on the porch for a few minutes, completely stunned. His mind was a whirlwind of emotions and memories. Vanessa was here, alive, with a daughter. The little girl who had touched his heart so inexplicably was the daughter of the woman he had loved years ago, and she had denied knowing him in front of her own child. Owen got into his car and sat there for a long time, looking at the little white house. Through the living room window, he could see silhouettes moving, Vanessa and Maya. His Vanessa, the woman he had loved and lost without understanding why, and now she was there, sick, in trouble, too proud to accept his help. Maya had immediately realized they knew each other, even with Vanessa denying it. Children had that strange intuition for truths that adults tried to hide. Owen started the car with trembling hands. He needed to process what had just happened. Fate had brought Vanessa back into his life in the most unexpected way possible, through a little girl who had touched his heart at a school, but she wanted nothing to do with him, and Owen had no idea why. As he drove back home, he couldn't decide if this was fate being cruel or being kind. Maybe it was both. Owen arrived home and went straight to his study. He closed the door, poured himself a glass of whiskey, and sank into the leather armchair that had been his father's. Vanessa, after all these years, she was here, at the door of a simple house, sick, with a small daughter, and she had sent him away as if he were a complete stranger. He took a sip of the whiskey and closed his eyes. The memories came flooding back. 6 years ago, he was 26 years old and had just taken on an important position at the family company. His mother, Eleanor Marshall, was still alive and ran the household with an iron fist. That's when Vanessa appeared. Owen remembered the day perfectly. He was working at home when he heard voices in the kitchen. He went downstairs and saw his mother talking to a young blonde woman who was holding a folder of documents. "This is my son, Owen," his mother had said in that formal tone she used with employees. "Owen, this is Vanessa. She's going to work with us as a housekeeper." Vanessa had given a small curtsy. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Marshall." "Just Owen is fine," he had replied, and saw a shy smile appear on her face. In the first few months, they barely spoke. Vanessa arrived early, did her work in silence, and left. Owen saw her in the corridors, always with her head down, always efficient, but little by little, they started to cross paths more. Owen remembered their first real conversation. He was in the backyard, trying to fix a problem with his laptop, when Vanessa appeared to clean the library windows. "Problems with technology?" she had asked, seeing his frustration. "The worst kind," Owen had laughed. "Important meeting in an hour and the computer decided to crash." "Can I take a look?" Owen had been surprised. "So you understand computers? I took a technical course before I started working here." In 5 minutes, Vanessa had fixed the problem. Owen was impressed not only with her competence but with the way she explained what she had done. "Thank you. You saved me." "You're welcome. Just call if you need anything." From then on, they started talking more. Small things at first. Owen would ask about her day. Vanessa would comment on something about work. Quick conversations in the corridors, discreet smiles when they passed each other. Gradually, these conversations became longer. Owen discovered that Vanessa lived alone in a small apartment, that she had been supporting herself since she was 18, that she dreamed of going back to school one day. She discovered that he wasn't the spoiled heir he seemed to be, that he worked hard to prove his worth, that he sometimes felt like a prisoner of his family's expectations. Conversations in the evenings became a routine. Vanessa would finish work, Owen would come home from the office, and they would meet in the garden or the library. They talked about everything and nothing. Books, movies, dreams, fears. Owen had never connected with someone like that. Vanessa was smart, funny, real. She wasn't interested in his money or the Marshall last name. When he was with her, Owen felt like a normal person, not an heir with obligations. She made him laugh. She argued with him when she disagreed. She challenged his ideas. She treated him like Owen, not Mr. Marshall. The affection grew slowly but inevitably. Owen started to look forward to the evenings. He would make excuses to stay home when he knew Vanessa would be there. He would buy books he knew she would like and forget them in the library for her to find. Vanessa started taking longer to finish her work. She would ask questions about his day. She would smile when she saw him coming. They never spoke openly about what was happening. It was something unspoken, delicate, that grew in the silences and the glances. Until one afternoon, 6 months after she arrived, it happened. Owen had come home early and found Vanessa in the library, reading one of the books he had left for her. It was raining outside, and the golden afternoon light was coming through the windows. "Do you like the book?" he had asked. "I love it. You have excellent taste in literature. Or maybe I just know your tastes well." They looked at each other for a long moment. The air between them was charged with everything that hadn't been said. "Owen," Vanessa had started, but he approached and kissed her. It was a soft kiss, hesitant at first, then more intense. When they pulled apart, they were both breathless. "I'm sorry," Owen had whispered. "I shouldn't have—" "Don't be sorry," Vanessa had said, touching his face. "I wanted you to do that." From that day on, everything changed. They started meeting in secret. Quick dinners when Eleanor wasn't home. Walks in the garden after everyone was asleep. Whispered conversations in the library. It was an impossible relationship, and they both knew it. The social difference was huge. Eleanor would never approve, but they genuinely cared about each other. Owen was in love for the first time in his life. Not with the idea of someone, not with status or convenience. He was in love with Vanessa, with the person she was, and she seemed to feel the same way. For 3 months, they lived this secret romance. Owen had never been so happy. He thought about introducing her to his friends, making the relationship public, facing his mother if necessary. He was planning to tell Eleanor everything on a Friday. On Thursday, Vanessa didn't show up for work. Owen was worried, but he thought maybe she was sick. He called her phone, but no one answered. On Friday, she didn't show up again. On Saturday, Owen went to her apartment. The doorman said she had moved out early on Thursday morning. She vanished. Just like that. Without a word, without an explanation. Owen was desperate. He searched for her for weeks. He called every number he had, went to every place he knew. Nothing. It was as if Vanessa had disappeared off the face of the earth. When he finally confronted his mother, Eleanor was direct. "She's gone, Owen." "It was for the best." "What do you mean it was for the best?" "You know very well what I mean. It was just a phase. Now you can focus on important things." Owen tried to ask more questions, but Eleanor refused to give details. She just said that Vanessa had understood that the relationship had no future and had made the sensible decision. "People like her know their place," was all Eleanor said. Owen could never accept that explanation. For months, he continued to search for Vanessa. He hired private detectives, checked records, investigated distant relatives. Nothing. It was as if she had never existed. Over time, the pain lessened, but it never completely disappeared. Owen had other relationships, but none of them compared to what he felt for Vanessa. He always had the feeling that he had lost something unique, irreplaceable, and now she was here, alive, real, standing at the door of a simple house, with a daughter. Owen opened his eyes and took another sip of whiskey. The pieces didn't fit. If Vanessa had disappeared voluntarily, why was she in trouble now? Why had she reacted with so much fear when she saw him? And why had Eleanor lied about her knowing her place? The Vanessa Owen knew would never have given up on something important without a fight, unless she didn't have a choice. Owen got up from the armchair and went to the window. Outside, the city shone in the darkness. Somewhere in a little white house, Vanessa was taking care of Maya. Maya, who had touched his heart in an inexplicable way. Maya, who had appeared in his life at the exact moment he needed a purpose most. Maybe it wasn't a coincidence. Maybe it was fate giving him a second chance to do the right thing. A second chance not to lose Vanessa again. This time, he wasn't going to give up. No matter how much she resisted, no matter what barriers existed between them. He had lost Vanessa once without understanding why. He wasn't going to let that happen again. Owen spent 3 days trying to forget what had happened at Vanessa's house. He tried to focus on work, signed contracts, attended meetings, but his mind always went back to her, to Vanessa, sick and too proud to accept help, to Maya, carrying worries that were not for a child to carry. On Thursday morning, he couldn't take it anymore. He cancelled his schedule and drove to the school. He didn't have a specific plan. He just wanted to make sure Maya was okay. He arrived at recess time and went straight to the playground. He looked for the tree where he always found the girl. The place was empty. Owen frowned and looked around. Maybe Maya was playing with other children today. Maybe she was better, but he didn't see her anywhere. He went to the front office. "Hi, sorry to bother you. I'm Owen Marshall. I made a donation here last week. Can I ask about a student? Maya. I don't know her last name." The secretary recognized him immediately. "Of course, Mr. Marshall. Maya Roberts." "Yes, the little blonde girl who is always alone at recess." "Oh, yes. She didn't come today, or yesterday. Owen felt a pang of concern. She was absent. Did someone call to excuse her? No, sir, it's strange because Maya never misses. She's one of the most consistent students we have. Owen's concern turned into alarm. Thank you. He left the school quickly and drove straight to Vanessa's house. Maybe he was being paranoid, but something wasn't right. He parked in front of the little white house and noticed that the curtains were closed. In the middle of the morning on a sunny Thursday, he was about to knock on the door when he heard something that made him stop, crying. It was a soft cry, but constant. It was coming from inside the house. Owen knocked on the door with urgency. Vanessa! Maya! Is everything okay? The crying stopped for a moment, then started again. Maya, it's me, Owen. Small footsteps approached the door, a weak voice. Owen! Yes, it's me. Open the door, Maya. The lock turned slowly, as if Maya was having trouble reaching it. The door opened and Owen felt his heart stop. Maya was in her pajamas in the middle of the morning, her blonde hair all tangled, her eyes red and swollen from crying so much. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Maya? What happened? She threw herself into his arms, crying uncontrollably. My mum is worse. She's not really waking up. Please, help save her. Owen felt a chill in his stomach. What do you mean, she's not really waking up? She's sleeping all the time, but when she wakes up, she says weird things, and she's very hot. Very, very hot. High fever, delirium. Vanessa was in a serious condition. Where is she? In the bedroom. Maya pulled him by the hand, still sobbing. I tried to wake her up to have breakfast, but she can't. And I don't know what to do. Owen followed Maya down the hallway of the small house. The air was heavy, smelling of sickness. They reached a simple bedroom where Vanessa was lying in bed. What Owen saw shocked him. Vanessa was unconscious, breathing with difficulty. Her skin was pale and sweaty, her lips dry. Even in her sleep, she seemed to be suffering. Owen approached and touched her forehead. It was burning with fever. Maya, how long has she been like this? 2 days. Yesterday she was still able to give me water, but today... Maya started crying again. Today she didn't even recognize me when she woke up. Owen took out his cell phone and dialed for emergency services. Hello? I need an ambulance urgently. Adult woman, high fever, unconscious, difficulty breathing. He quickly gave the address. Will the ambulance take long? Maya asked with a shaky voice. About 15 minutes. 15 minutes that Owen wasn't sure Vanessa would last. Her breathing was getting more and more difficult. Maya, get a towel and wet it with cold water. While Maya ran to the bathroom, Owen crouched beside the bed. Vanessa, Vanessa, can you hear me? She moved slightly but didn't open her eyes. Owen made a decision. He wasn't going to stand there and wait. Maya, come here. We're taking your mum to the hospital now. How? In my car? It'll be faster. Owen took the blanket off Vanessa and lifted her into his arms. She was too light, burning with fever. Maya, get a shirt and follow me. The girl obeyed without questioning. Owen carried Vanessa to the car, with Maya running behind him. He put Vanessa in the back seat and Maya got in on the other side, holding her mother's hand. Hold on to her tight, Maya, and tell me if she gets worse. Owen drove like he had never driven in his life. He ran yellow lights, passed cars, did whatever was necessary to get to the nearest hospital quickly. During the ride, Maya spoke softly to her mother, trying to keep her awake. Mom, we're going to the hospital. Owen is helping us. Stay with me, okay? Vanessa was mumbling incomprehensible things. Owen could see in the rearview mirror that she was delirious. They arrived at the hospital in 10 minutes. Owen stopped the car at the emergency entrance and shouted for help. I need a gurney now. Nurses came running. Owen quickly explained the symptoms as they put Vanessa on a gurney. High fever for 2 days. Delirium, difficulty breathing. It got much worse in the last few hours. Are you family? Owen hesitated for a second. I'm a family friend. And the child? She's her daughter. The nurses rushed Vanessa inside the hospital. Owen followed with Maya, who wouldn't let go of his hand. At the reception, a nurse stopped Owen. "Sir, I need some information. Patient's name." "Vanessa Roberts." "Age?" Owen paused. He didn't know Vanessa's exact age. When they met, she must have been 21, 22. "Maya," he crouched down, "how old is your mum?" 27, Maya answered in a small voice. "Medical insurance?" Owen looked at Maya, who shook her head. "She doesn't have any, but I'll pay. Any tests, any treatment she needs." The nurse nodded and continued filling out the forms. After taking care of the paperwork, Owen and Maya sat in the waiting room. The place was full, but Owen found 2 chairs together. Maya was silent, swinging her legs and looking at the door where Vanessa had disappeared. "Is she going to be okay?" Maya asked after a while. "She will. The doctors here are very good." "Are you sure?" Owen looked at the girl's blue eyes, full of fear and hope. "I'm sure." Maya nodded and rested her head on the arm of the chair. Owen realized she was exhausted. "Maya, when was the last time you ate?" She thought about it. "Yesterday morning, I think." "Yesterday? Maya, you haven't eaten since yesterday." "There was nothing at home, and I didn't know how to cook." Owen felt his heart clench. A 5-year-old child taking care of a sick mother alone, with no food, not knowing what to do. "Come here," he said, opening his arms. Maya didn't hesitate. She nestled in his lap as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "Are you hungry now?" "A little bit." Owen called a nurse and asked if there was a place to get food. She pointed to a cafeteria on the floor above. "Stay here for a minute. I'll get you something to eat." "No!" Maya clung to his arm. "Don't leave me alone." "Okay, okay. We'll go together." They walked to the cafeteria holding hands. Owen bought a sandwich, juices and a bag of cookies. Maya ate everything hungrily, but slowly, as if she didn't want to seem desperate. When they got back to the waiting room, Maya settled into Owen's lap again. "Owen?" "Yeah?" "Thank you for helping us." "You don't need to thank me." Maya was quiet for a moment. "It's just me and my mom. I never met my dad." Owen felt something stir inside his chest. The vulnerability in Maya's voice, the way she clung to him as if he were a safe harbor. "Did your mom ever talk about him?" "No. She just says it's me and her against the world." Owen hugged Maya tighter. "You're not alone now, okay? I'll take care of both of you." "Really? Really? I promise." And in that moment, Owen knew he was serious. It didn't matter what had happened in the past between him and Vanessa. It didn't matter that she had rejected him. He wasn't leaving this time. Maya had come into his life at the exact moment he needed a purpose, and Vanessa, even sick, even proud, was the woman he never stopped loving. Maybe fate was giving him a second chance to do the right thing. This time, he wasn't going to waste it. Owen kissed the top of Maya's head and whispered, "I won't abandon you two, ever again." Maya nestled closer in his lap, finally relaxing for the first time in days, and Owen stayed there, in the hospital waiting room, holding a little girl who had stolen his heart, waiting for news of the woman he never stopped loving, waiting for the chance to finally do the right thing. After a 3-hour wait, a doctor finally appeared in the room. "Family of Mrs. Vanessa Roberts." Owen immediately stood up, still holding Maya in his lap. "That's me. Dr. Williams. The lady has severe bacterial pneumonia. You got her here just in time. A few more hours, and it could have been fatal." Maya clung tighter to Owen's neck. "Is she going to be okay?" Owen asked. "She will, but she'll need to be hospitalized for at least a week, maybe more. Her condition is quite advanced. We'll have to start intensive antibiotic treatment." "Can I see her?" "Not yet. She's being stabilized in the ICU, but you can go home and rest. I'll call if there are any changes." Owen nodded. "Doctor, she doesn't have insurance." I want to cover all the costs of the treatment, whatever she needs. Understood. The front desk will handle the financial part. After sorting out the paperwork with the hospital, Owen found himself with Maya in his arms in the parking lot, not knowing quite what to do. Owen? Maya raised her little head. Are we going home now? Owen paused. Who's home? Vanessa's house was empty, and Maya couldn't stay there alone. Maya, how about you come and stay at my house while your mom is in the hospital? Maya's eyes widened. At your house? Really? Really? It'll be fun. But I don't have clothes to change into, or a toothbrush. We'll buy everything you need. Don't worry. During the ride to his house, Owen called Sarah. Sarah, I need you to cancel all my appointments for the next few days. And can you do me a favor? Buy some clothes for a 5-year-old girl. Pajamas, everyday clothes, just the basics. Oh, and children's toiletries, a small toothbrush, shampoo, that kind of thing. Sir, are you all right? I am. It's a special situation. Can you do this for me? Of course. What size clothes? Owen looked at Maya in the rearview mirror. Maya, what size clothes do you wear? My mum always buys size 6. She says it's better to be a little big than too small. Size 6, Sarah. And bring everything to my house this afternoon. When they arrived at the Marshall mansion, Maya was speechless. Wow, it's so big. Owen laughed. It is. Sometimes it's too big. They entered through the main door. Maya looked at everything with wide eyes. The entrance hall with the crystal chandelier, the marble staircase, the paintings on the walls. Do you live here alone? I do. Since my mom passed away, it's just been me. Don't you get scared? Sometimes, but now you're here, so I won't be anymore. Maya smiled, the first genuine smile Owen had seen since he found her crying at the school gate. Come on, I'll show you the house. Owen gave her a tour of the main rooms. Maya was enchanted by everything. The library with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, the living room with the fireplace and the huge kitchen. But it was when they reached the backyard that she really got excited. Owen, look at all the flowers. She ran across the lawn, touching the roses, smelling the lavender, laughing when a butterfly landed on her hair. Here it's like a park, she shouted, spinning with her arms wide. Owen stood on the porch, watching. How long had it been since that garden heard laughter? How long had it been since that house had real life? Owen, come play with me. I will. They spent an hour in the garden. Maya picked some daisies and made a princess crown for Owen to wear. He pretended it was very heavy and important, which made her laugh until she was out of breath. When the sun started to set, they went inside. Are you hungry? Owen asked. A little bit. In the kitchen, Owen realized he didn't know how to cook for a child. He opened the refrigerator and saw only adult things, fancy cheeses, wines, gourmet leftovers. What do you like to eat? Pancakes. My mom makes pancakes sometimes. Owen had never made a pancake in his life, but there were YouTube videos, right? 40 minutes and a lot of flour later. They managed to make something that vaguely resembled pancakes. It's a little crooked, Maya observed, looking at the result. It is, but I bet it tastes good. They sat at the kitchen table, not the formal dining room table, but the simple table where Owen sometimes had coffee. Maya ate the crooked pancakes with appetite, getting honey all over her face. It's delicious, she said with her mouth full. Good. Tomorrow we'll try to make them better. Are you going to teach me? Actually, I think you're going to have to teach me. It seems like you know more about cooking than I do. Maya laughed. My mom says I'm a good helper in the kitchen. After dinner, Owen showed Maya the guest room. You can sleep here. Tomorrow we'll buy things to make the room your own. Maya climbed onto the huge bed and sank into the soft mattress. It's so fluffy. She threw herself on her back and waved her arms and legs as if she were making a snow angel. Owen brought one of his smaller pajamas for her to wear. It was huge on her, but Maya found it funny. I look like a ghost, she said, raising her arms and making the sleeves swing. At bedtime, Maya was quiet. Do you miss your mum? Owen asked, sitting on the edge of the bed. I do, but she's going to be okay, right? She is, and you'll be together again soon. Owen? Yeah? Thank you for taking care of me. Owen's heart ached. You don't need to thank me. I like taking care of you. Why? The question took him by surprise. Why? Because from the moment he saw Maya on the school playground, something inside him had awakened. Because she made him feel important in a way that no multi-million-dollar contract ever had. Because you're special, Maya. And because maybe I needed you as much as you needed me. Maya smiled sleepily. I think I like it here. I like having you here. Owen turned off the light and stood at the door for a moment, watching Maya snuggle into the pillows. He had never thought about having children. He had never thought about a family. His life had always been about work, business, obligations. But now, looking at this little girl sleeping in the guest room, Owen thought, I never built a family, maybe it's time. In the following days, a routine was established. Owen woke up early and made breakfast for Maya. He took her to school and picked her up at the end of the day. In the afternoon, they would visit Vanessa at the hospital. Maya was recovering from the shock. She smiled more, asked questions about everything, and explored every corner of the house. Owen discovered that he liked taking care of her. He liked hearing her school stories, helping with her homework, reading books before she went to sleep. He liked asking what she wanted for dinner, watching cartoons on the couch, hearing her humming while she took a bath. Sarah had brought beautiful clothes for Maya, who was enchanted with everything, especially a blue dress that matched her eyes. Do I look like a princess? She asked, twirling in front of the mirror. You look like the most beautiful princess in the world. Owen found himself taking pictures of these moments. Maya in the garden, Maya in the kitchen trying to help make cookies, Maya reading in the library. He was building memories. He was creating a life he didn't know he wanted. A week later, when Maya was sleeping, Owen was in the library looking at the photos on his phone. In all of them, Maya was smiling. She was no longer the sad, lonely girl he had found under the tree at school. She was a happy, secure, loved child. And Owen realized he had also changed. For the first time since his mother's death, he had a purpose. He had someone to take care of, someone who needed him. He had a family, even if he didn't know the whole truth yet. A week and a half later, Owen's phone rang early. Mr. Marshall, this is Dr. Williams. Vanessa Roberts has been discharged. You can pick her up this morning. Owen felt a mix of relief and anxiety. Vanessa was okay, but what would happen now? During these days taking care of Maya, he had created a routine, a life he didn't want to lose, and he knew that when Vanessa returned, things would change. Maya, he called, going up the stairs. Your mum has been discharged. We're going to pick her up. Maya ran out of her room, still in her pajamas, her blonde hair all messy. My mom is okay. Really? Really? The doctor said she can go home today. Maya jumped into his arms, radiant. I knew she would be okay. I knew it. During breakfast, Maya was euphoric. She couldn't stop talking about all the things she wanted to tell her mom, about the garden, about the crooked pancakes, about the blue dress Owen had bought for her. She'll like your house, Owen. It's much prettier than ours. Your house is pretty too, Maya. It's a real home. But here it's big, and there's that fluffy rug in the living room that makes you want to lie on the floor. Owen laughed. Maya had spent hours lying on that rug, reading books or just looking at the ceiling. They arrived at the hospital around 10 in the morning. Vanessa was sitting in a chair in her room, wearing her own clothes, jeans and a simple shirt that were too big for her. She had lost weight during her hospitalization, but she was well. Her blue eyes were clear, without the fever of the last few days. Mom! Maya ran and threw herself into Vanessa's arms. My princess? Vanessa hugged her tightly, kissing the top of her blonde head. How you've grown in a week. I haven't grown. But look at my new dress. Maya pulled back to show off the blue dress she had insisted on wearing. Owen bought it for me. Vanessa looked at Owen, who was standing at the door. There was something different in her eyes. Less hostility, perhaps, or maybe just exhaustion. "Thank you," she said softly, "for taking care of her. You don't need to thank me." "I do. I know you didn't have to." Maya started chattering about everything that had happened. The garden, the house, the pancakes, the cartoons. Vanessa listened with a smile, but Owen could see she was evaluating every detail. After the discharge procedures, the three of them headed to the car. Maya insisted on sitting in the middle, between Owen and Vanessa. "Where are we going?" Vanessa asked when Owen started the car. "To your house, for you to rest." "But Owen, can we stay at your house a little longer?" Maya asked. "I want to show my mum the garden." Owen looked at Vanessa in the rearview mirror. "If your mum wants to, I don't want to bother you anymore." "You're not bothering me. Maya wants to show you things." Vanessa hesitated, but nodded. "Okay, just for a little while." During the drive, Maya told them every detail of the week. How Owen had taught her to make cookies, which came out burned. How they had watched movies on the big couch. How he read her stories before bed. "And you know what else, Mom? Owen is so funny, he can't cook anything. I had to teach him how to make a sandwich." Vanessa smiled for the first time. He did. And he has a giant library, with books all the way to the ceiling." Owen realized that Vanessa was more relaxed. The tension of the first few days had lessened. When they arrived at the mansion, Maya ran out. "Come on, Mom. Come see." She pulled Vanessa by the hand, showing her every room with pride as if the house were her own. In the library, Vanessa stopped. Owen saw her looking around with a strange expression. "Do you remember this place?" he asked softly. "I remember," she whispered. "This is where we—" It was here." Maya had run off to another room, so they were alone for a moment. "Vanessa, no, Owen, not now." But when they reached the garden, Vanessa couldn't hide her emotion. Maya ran across the lawn as if it were her home, showing every flower, every special little spot. "Look, Mom, this is where I had a picnic with Owen, and over there I saw a giant yellow butterfly." Vanessa sat on a bench, watching her daughter play. Owen sat beside her. "She's so happy," Vanessa said. "She is. And you? How are you feeling today?" "Better. Stronger." She paused. "Owen, I need to tell you something." "You can tell me." Vanessa took a deep breath. "Not here. Not in front of Maya." "Okay." They spent another hour in the garden. Maya made Vanessa smell all the flowers, showed her where she had tried to plant seeds without success, and told her about the birds that came to eat the crumbs she left. When the sun started to get too hot, they decided to leave. "Let's go to your house now," Owen said, starting the car. During the ride, Maya fell asleep in the back seat, tired from all the excitement. That's when Vanessa finally spoke. "Owen, I have to tell you something. About what happened years ago." Owen kept his eyes on the road, but his heart started beating faster. "When your mother found out about us, she sent me away." Owen pulled the car over to the side of the road. "What?" She knew, Owen, about us, about the meetings, the feelings. "She called me into her office one morning and told me I had until the end of the day to leave the house and the city." "My mom did that." Owen turned to look at Vanessa. "Why? Because I was just a housekeeper, because I wasn't good enough for her son." Owen felt the anger grow, and she had no right. She did. It was her house, her job she was giving me. Vanessa looked down at her lap. But there was something she didn't know. "What?" Vanessa raised her eyes to him. "I was pregnant." The world stopped around Owen. He stared at Vanessa, trying to process what he had just heard. Pregnant. 2 months pregnant. "I hadn't told you yet because I didn't know how you would react." Owen looked at the back seat, where Maya was sleeping peacefully. "Maya, she's your daughter, Owen." Our daughter. The silence that followed was heavy. Owen stared straight ahead, his hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to organize his thoughts. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you run away? Because your mom made it clear I had no place in your life, and because... Vanessa took a deep breath. Because I thought hiding would be better for everyone. Better, Vanessa. You deprived me of 5 years with my daughter. I know it was wrong. But I was young, I was scared, I had no money, I had no one. Tears started running down her face. I thought it would be better to raise her alone than to fight with your family. Owen got out of the car and started pacing back and forth on the grass on the shoulder of the road. 5 years. 5 years of his daughter's life that he had lost. First steps. First words. First day of school. All because his mother had decided that Vanessa wasn't good enough. When he got back into the car, Vanessa was crying softly. I'm sorry, Owen. I'm so sorry for everything. Owen looked at her, then at Maya sleeping in the back seat. His daughter. His little blonde girl with blue eyes who had appeared in his life at the exact moment he needed her most. My mom died recently, he said finally. And I wasted too much time. Vanessa looked at him, surprised. I don't just want to help you, Owen continued, turning completely to her. I want you both in my life. I want to build a family. Owen, I know I hurt you. I know my family hurt you. But Maya changed everything for me. She made me realize what really matters. And what matters? Family love. Being present for the moments that really count. Owen took Vanessa's hand. I loved you 6 years ago. And seeing you now, even after everything, I know I never stopped loving you. Vanessa closed her eyes. Owen, it's complicated. It doesn't have to be. We can start over. Slowly. Any way you want. And Maya deserves to know the truth. She deserves to have a dad. Vanessa was silent for a long time. Finally, she nodded. Okay, let's tell her. They arrived at the little white house, and Maya woke up when Owen turned off the car. Are we here yet? She asked, rubbing her eyes. We are. Maya, your mum and I want to talk to you about something important. What kind of important thing? Let's go inside first. In the small, cozy living room, Maya sat on the couch between Owen and Vanessa. She could tell that something serious was happening. Maya, Vanessa began, you know it's always been just you and me, right? I know. And you've always asked about your dad? Maya nodded, looking from one to the other. Well, your dad is here, Maya frowned. Where? Owen knelt in front of her, getting to the level of her blue eyes. It's me, Maya. I'm your dad. Maya stared at him for a long moment, as if she were processing the information. Her eyes widened. You're my real dad. I am. Is that why I liked you from the very first day? Owen smiled, his eyes full of tears. Maybe. Sometimes the heart knows things that the head hasn't understood yet. Maya looked at him seriously for a few more seconds. Then, without warning, she threw herself into his arms. I knew it, she said, hugging his neck tightly. I knew you were special. Owen hugged her back, feeling as if a piece that had been missing from his life had finally clicked into place. I liked you from the first day, Maya repeated, speaking into his ear. Ever since you gave me jelly beans at school. And I liked you too, from the very first moment. Vanessa was crying, but they were tears of relief. For the first time in 5 years, she wasn't carrying the weight of the secret alone. So now we're going to be a family, Maya asked, pulling away to look at Owen. If you want to. I do. I've always wanted to have a dad. Owen looked at Vanessa over Maya's head. She nodded, smiling through her tears. Then we're going to be a family, he said. A real family. Maya squealed with joy and hugged them both at the same time. The best family in the world. And for the first time in 6 years, Owen felt that he was exactly where he was supposed to be. That night, after Maya went to sleep in her own bed in the little white house, Owen and Vanessa stayed in the living room talking late into the night. There was so much that needed to be said, so much that needed to be resolved. The small room was lit only by an old lamp in the corner, creating soft shadows on the walls. Vanessa was huddled at one end of the couch, hugging her legs. "It was an intense day," she said, looking out the window. "It was, how are you feeling?" "Confused, relieved, scared." Vanessa laughed softly. "All at the same time?" Owen slowly moved closer on the couch. Confused why? Because everything changed so fast. "Yesterday I was a single mom hiding a secret. Today we're a family. And that scares you." Vanessa was quiet for a while. When she spoke, her voice was full of vulnerability. "Owen, I need to ask you something." "You can ask." She turned to him, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "What if this is all just because you felt sorry for me?" "Because you found out." Owen frowned. "What do you mean?" You didn't know Maya was your daughter when you started helping us. Maybe now you feel obligated, out of guilt, out of responsibility." "Vanessa, let me finish." She raised her hand. "I spent 5 years raising Maya alone. 5 years wondering if I did the right thing. If I should have told you." Owen tried to speak, but she continued, "And now you show up in our lives like a savior. You take care of Maya when I'm in the hospital. You pay all the bills. You offer your house." Her tears began to fall. "I don't want you to be with us out of pity, or because you feel guilty about what your mom did. Maya deserves more than that." "I deserve more than that." Owen got up from the couch and knelt in front of her, taking her hands. His own hands were trembling slightly. "Vanessa, look at me." She reluctantly raised her eyes to him. "It's not pity, and it's not an impulse," he said firmly, looking straight into her blue eyes. "I'm making a choice, and Vanessa, a choice. I want you and Maya to move in with me. I want to build a family with you, now, to live, to grow, to be happy." Vanessa tried to look away, but Owen held her face gently. "Listen to what I'm saying. I fell in love with Maya before I knew she was my daughter. So I fell in love with that sad little girl on the playground because she made me feel like my life had a purpose. Owen, do you know how I felt when I saw her crying at the school gate, like my heart was breaking? Do you know what it was like to take care of her that week? It felt like I finally knew what I was for." Vanessa was crying silently now. "And you," Owen continued, stroking her face. "I never stopped loving you, Vanessa. All these 6 years, I tried to move on, but I always knew a part of me was stuck in that library, in those late afternoons when it was just the two of us. But what if what? What if you change your mind? What if you realize it's too hard? That we're too complicated?" Owen smiled sadly. "All families are complicated, Vanessa. All families have stories to work through. Ours has more than most. Maybe, but we can choose how we move forward from here." Vanessa closed her eyes, as if she were fighting an internal battle. "I'm so scared to trust again." "I'm scared too. I've never been a dad. I've never lived in a real family. I don't know if I'll be good at it. What if we mess it up? What if Maya gets hurt? Then we'll go slowly. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. But together." Owen held her hands tighter. "Vanessa, I lost 5 years of my daughter's life. 5 years without knowing she existed. I don't want to lose another day." Vanessa opened her eyes and looked at him for a long moment. Owen could see that she was weighing her fears against her hopes, the past against the future. "This time, you're not leaving?" she asked, her voice as weak as a child's. "This time, I'm not leaving, I promise. How can you be so sure?" "Because now I know what's important. Because now I know what real love is." Owen kissed her hands. "Because you two saved me as much as I saved you." Vanessa studied him for a few more moments. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Okay, let's try." Owen smiled and leaned in to kiss her. It was a soft kiss, full of promises and new beginnings. When they pulled apart, Vanessa was smiling too. "Maya is going to be ecstatic when she finds out she's moving into the mansion," she said. The mansion will finally have some real life. Real life. Laughter in the hallways, little footsteps on the stairs, chatter at breakfast. Owen smiled. Love on the walls. A week later, Owen was supervising the move. The company he hired was being extremely careful with Vanessa and Maya's few belongings. Be careful with that box, Vanessa told one of the employees. There are important photos inside. Maya ran back and forth, showing every corner of the mansion to her belongings as if they were old friends reuniting. This bear is going to go on my new bed. And these books are going to go in the giant library. And my favorite doll is going to go on the shelf near the window so she can see the garden. Owen watched it all with a smile on his face. In just 1 week, the mansion already looked different, more alive, more welcoming. Are you nervous? He asked, putting his arm around Vanessa. A little. It's a huge change for her life. And for yours. For mine too. Vanessa looked around the entrance hall. Sometimes I still can't believe this is real. It's real. And everything will be okay. How can you be so sure? Because when you really love, you make it work. That night, they had dinner together at the kitchen table, not the formal dining room table, but the cozy little table where Owen sometimes had coffee alone. Maya chatted non-stop about her new room, about how she was going to organize her toys, about how she could see the whole garden from her window. And tomorrow I'm going to school from here, she asked, taking a sip of milk. You are. It's closer, so we'll have more time in the morning, Owen replied. And you'll take me? I will. Every day if you want. Maya clapped her hands. And you'll pick me up too? I will. Now I have a mom and a dad to take me to school, just like everyone in my class. Vanessa and Owen exchanged an emotional look. It was surreal how quickly Maya had adapted to the new reality. As if deep down, she always knew this was what was missing. The first few months were a time of adjustments and discoveries. Vanessa found a job at an accounting firm, something she had always wanted to do but never had the opportunity. You don't have to work, Owen had insisted. I want you and Maya to have everything you need. I know, but I want to contribute. I want it to be a real partnership, not a favor you're doing. They created new routines that felt natural, as if they had always lived this way. Breakfast together before Maya went to school, with Owen making pancakes on Saturdays. Family dinners in the kitchen, talking about their day. Weekends in the garden, with Maya exploring every corner and Owen teaching her the names of the flowers. Owen discovered that he loved being a dad. He loved helping Maya with her homework, even when she made a face at math. He loved hearing her wild stories about what had happened at school. He loved seeing the world through her curious eyes, which found magic in everything. Vanessa was blossoming like a flower that had finally received water after a long drought. The constant worry she had carried on her shoulders had disappeared. She smiled more, laughed more, dreamed more. She made plans for the future without fear. And they, slowly, were rediscovering each other as a couple. Long conversations after Maya was asleep, talking about everything and nothing. Outings for just the two of them on weekends, while Maya stayed with a babysitter. Small gestures of affection, a hand on her waist, a kiss on her forehead, fingers intertwined. That showed the love had never really died. 6 months later, on a sunny Saturday afternoon, Owen was installing a new swing in the garden. Maya had been asking for it for weeks, and he had finally found the time and courage to try to do it himself. More to the left, Maya shouted from the lawn, directing the operation with all the authority of her newly turned 6 years. Like this, Owen asked, adjusting the rope for the 5th time. Now more to the right. Maya, you have to decide. It's perfect now. Vanessa appeared on the porch with a tray of cold lemonade. She was wearing a simple floral dress and had her hair loose on her shoulders. She was tanned from the garden sun, healthy, radiant. How are the engineers doing over there? She asked, placing the tray on a table that Owen had bought especially for the garden. Almost done, Maya replied, jumping with excitement. Owen, can I test it now? Please? You can? But slowly at first, okay? Maya carefully got on the swing and started swinging slowly, then with more enthusiasm, laughing as the wind blew through her blonde hair. Owen sat on the wooden bench he had installed under Maya's favorite tree, the place where she used to have imaginary picnics. Vanessa joined him, bringing 2 glasses of lemonade. "Does she so happy?" Vanessa observed, watching Maya hum a made-up song as she swung. "She is. And you? How are you feeling today?" "Happy too. Complete." Vanessa looked at him. "Sometimes it still feels surreal, like I'm going to wake up and find out it was all a beautiful dream. It's not a dream. It's our life now. Our family." They were silent for a few minutes, watching Maya play. The garden was more beautiful than ever, with new flower beds that Vanessa had created and small touches, a bird feeder, colorful stones, a small scarecrow that Maya had insisted on making. That made the place more welcoming and alive. "Owen," Vanessa said after a while. "Yeah. We can't go back in time." Owen looked at her, noticing a thoughtful shadow in her blue eyes. "But we can build something beautiful from now on," he finished, taking her hand. Vanessa smiled. "Exactly. Do you regret it, losing those years?" "Sometimes, especially when I see you with Maya and I think about everything you lost. Her first steps, her first words, her first day of school." "Hey." Owen turned his body to her completely. "We're not going to live looking back. We're going to live creating new memories." "Like what?" "Like teaching Maya how to ride a bike. Like the birthday parties we'll have here in the garden. Like the summer vacations we'll take together." Owen squeezed her hand. "Feel like the day we get married, if you want to." Vanessa's eyes widened. "Owen, it's not an official proposal, not yet," he smiled. "It's just a possibility, a beautiful future we can build if you want." "Daddy! Mommy!" Maya shouted from the swing, interrupting the moment. "Oh, look how high I can go now." They looked and saw Maya swinging with pure joy, her hair flying in the wind, her face illuminated by the golden afternoon sun. "Be careful, princess," Owen shouted back. "Hold on tight." "She's growing up so fast," Vanessa observed, with a mix of pride and melancholy in her voice. "She is. And we'll be here to see every moment from now on." Vanessa leaned her head on Owen's shoulder, breathing in his familiar scent mixed with the perfume of the garden flowers. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For not giving up, for insisting when I said no, for finding me again through Maya. Thank you, for raising an incredible girl, for being strong when I wasn't there, for giving me a second chance I didn't deserve." They looked at each other and smiled. It wasn't a perfect, unscarred smile. It was a real smile, from 2 people who had been through storms and chose to fight for love. "Daddy, Mommy, come play with me. The swing is big enough for both of you too. Shall we?" Owen asked, getting up and holding out his hand to Vanessa. "Let's." And they ran to the swing, where Maya was waiting for them with open arms and a smile that lit up the whole garden. The sun was setting, painting the sky in gold and pink, and for the first time in a long time, everything was exactly as it should be. The new family was complete.